call the meeting to order. We have enough people. First thing, we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Our Joe Kane.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here. Here.
Silva. Smith.
Here.
Garrett.
Present.
Renee.
Here.
All right, we have one person signed up for public comment, Mr. Bob Allery. You can come forward to the podium, and you have 3 minutes. Mr. Bob Allery.
When you get older, your hearing isn't all that great. So, I have 2 subjects that I would like to talk about. As you may know, I live in Gilbert's, and I sold to the Forest Preserve about 10 years ago with John Hoshite about 250 acres of my precious farm. At that time, we also agreed that the Forest Preserve would have first right of refusal if I ever died or decided not to live there anymore. I've had a bad bump in the road in the last couple of years with a bank where I borrowed $3 million, offered to pay it back. At the last minute, they figured out how to foreclose and take my horse farm away. And they told the Forest Preserve you had to exercise your option to purchase. That property is under appeal. So that's one issue. Part of that was a 6-acre parcel that's contiguous to my homestead that my son, 29 years old, his wife, and a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old live. It's the only thing they know. These kids are not doing all that great these days, and he's in a terrible state of depression, and I don't know where the bottom of that is, but I don't want to have something really bad happen and know that I didn't try to do my best to protect his homestead, his 6 acres. The Forest Preserve attorney met with the bank's attorney and said, I'm paraphrasing, we don't want to get involved in that, so you evict these kids and you bulldoze the house down and then we'll buy it. Now that may be legally okay, but I don't think that's the kind of people you and I are. I'm as much a Forest Preserve advocate as any one of you here. I treasure the land. I love it. I pick up garbage. Last Saturday, I picked up a couple truckloads of garbage on Forest Preserve property, and I was happy to do it because I like the beauty of the land. So I am asking if you would consider appointing a couple guys. I know I've met Mr. Lewis, I know T.R. Smith, and if you would allow me to have an evening meeting with them, either let me convince you that we can work together and solve these problems, or convince me that I'm all wrong and just a big crybaby and go away. But, you know, I have, Monica Myers and I have never had a crossword, so we get along great. I've had a few crosswords with John, but Other people say he does too.
Time, if you can just wind it up in a few more words.
That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we have one of the delightful tasks we get to do as a commission. We get to present an employee accommodation to Anthony Preston.
If you can join us at the podium with your wife, Heather, and your daughter, Caitlin.
Good morning. I'm John Gorth, Director of Operations and Maintenance for the Forest Preserve District. This is Anthony Brescia. He's our senior ranger. Anthony is stationed down at the South Operations Division. Anthony's been with us for 11 years. This is a commendation that I wrote for Anthony in regards to for life-saving actions. And I'll read it to you now. Anthony is being commended for his attention to duty and superb observation skills attributed to the saving the life of a Forest Preserve patron. On September 9th, 2016, Anthony stopped at the Big Rock Forest Preserve to eat his lunch in the parking lot. After speaking with Anthony about this, he said it was just trying to get away from the campground so everybody would leave him alone so he could have his lunch peacefully. Anthony noticed a gentleman attempting to change a tire on his vehicle. Upon further observation, Anthony realized the gentleman was having some issues. So Anthony approached and offered him a bottle of water. Anthony noticed that the gentleman was sweating profusely and experienced uncontrolled muscle twitching. He also seemed to be confused. Anthony asked the gentleman if he needed medical attention, and the gentleman said no, that he had just been sick for the last 3 days. Anthony then informed him that he thought he was having a medical episode. The gentleman responded that he agreed, and at that point, Anthony stated that things kind of went downhill. He told the gentleman he was going to call for medical assistance. Then from that point, it kind of went downhill. Anthony stated that things went downhill rather quickly as the gentleman felt sick and wanted to lie down and sleep. Anthony kept the gentleman alert until medical services arrived. Once on the scene, and after further evaluation, paramedics determined the gentleman was having a cardiac event. It was later discovered that after the gentleman was admitted to the hospital, he'd indeed had a heart attack. As the Director of Operations, I sincerely want to congratulate Anthony for a job well done. Anthony, your initiative and attention to duty is what makes the Forest Preserve what it is today, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody's standing behind you. Go ahead. Thank you, Anthony. You know, the one thing I just want to add is these situations, this is not if these things will happen, it's when these things happen. The Forest Preserve District spends a lot of time training, but you never know how an individual will act when these type of situations do come up. And I have to tell you, I've known Anthony for years. He's a long tenured employee of the district. And I know and knew that I had no doubt that if something like this happened under Anthony's watch, this is exactly how he would react. So I just want to give you my personal thank you. And if I could clone Anthony, it would be awesome.
Fortunately, never been said. Thank you very much.
Thanks. The boxes are over there. All right, I'll grab them.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
This guy was trying to kill that 9-year-old girl.
This is just another example of the great employees that the Forest Preserve has working for it. Thank you very much, and never stop telling your fellows what they have to look for, because you saved a life, and that's worth a lot. And now we have the presentation of the minutes for approval. I'd like to move them. Mr. Dahl, Mrs. Starrett, seconds. Is there discussion on these minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed. The presentation and approval of the bills for September, who would like to move them? Barbara would move it, and Deborah would second. Is there discussion on these bills? There's roll call.
Allen. August.
Yes.
Guerrero. Yes. Castro.
Yes.
Dahl.
Yes.
Davis.
Yeah.
Frog.
Yes.
Gillum.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Oshak. Yes. Kazar.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Yes. Pollock.
Yes.
Sheffield.
Yes.
Silva. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Sterrett.
Yes.
Wernacki.
Yes.
Motion passes. I will read these bids. We have 8 of them. 2491 is the first one. Resolution authorizing the purchase of 2017 Chevy Tahoe utility police vehicles through the Suburban Purchasing and Cooperative Agreement. Number 2492, resolution accepting a bid for the construction of ADA accessible walks at the Johnson Mounds and Fabius Forest Preserves. Number 3 is 2493, resolution accepting a bid for brush clearing at the Pingree Grove Forest Preserve in conjunction with the North American Wetland Conservation Act Pingree Wetland Restoration Grant. The fourth one is 2494, resolution accepting a bid for tree removal at the Leroy Oaks Forest Preserve. Number 2495, resolution accepting a bid for Phase 5 brush clearing at the Freeman Kane Manger Forest Reserve, Tomochichi Knolls. Number 6, 2496, resolution accepting a bid for pond management at the Burnage Rose Creek Forest Reserve. 2497, resolution accepting a bid for repaving the Burnage Paul Wolf Forest Preserve. Number 2498, resolution accepting a bid for a new truck lift for the Operations Department of Trades Division. Would somebody move these? Mr. Heyman moves it. Mr. Kajarek seconds. You want that pond cleaned up, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Now, would anybody like to discuss any one of these?
Talks about their pond every month.
Yeah.
It'll be frozen over here pretty quick, and you won't have to worry about it for 3 months.
But make sure it freezes over, it won't have any scum on it. So.
All right, let's go. If we don't have any more conversation, we'll vote. Would Pat please call the roll?
Allen. Auger.
Yes.
Guerrero. Yes. Castro.
Yes.
Dahl.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Frog. Gillum.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Oshak.
Yes.
Kazar.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Pollock.
Yes.
Sheffield.
Yes.
Silva. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Sterrett. Yes. Wernacki.
Yes.
All approved. Under land acquisition, 2499, resolution authorizing acceptance of land by gifts from Gregory G. Grabowski, Andrew S. Grabowski, and Lisa S. Snyder, located in the St. Charles Township. Would somebody move that? Mr. Frost moves it. Maggie Auger seconds. Is there discussion on accepting this? Mr. Holscheid?
Mr. Kenyon, or Mr. Chairman, I have to abstain from voting on this. One of the donors is a client of mine.
Mr. Frost?
I just want to publicly, for the record, thank the Grabacki family and Schneider families. And do we do a press release on this sort of thing? I just think when somebody gives us several $100,000
Yes.
of the
We
land,
will once it's approved by the
we
commission,
might
yes.
acknowledge it. So, thank you.
This is adjacent to a current preserve, and it was platted, it could have been all homes, so I'm sure the neighbors will all be happy that it'll stay woods. Ready to vote? Roll call.
Allen. Auger.
Yes.
Guerrero. Yes. Castro.
Yes.
Dahl.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Frog.
Yes.
Gillum.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Oshak. Kazar.
Yes.
Leonard. Lewis.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Yes. Pollock.
Yes.
Sheffield.
Yes.
Silva. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Sterrett.
Yes.
Wernacki.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Under business, 2500, resolution authorizing the purchase of electricity and authorizing the Forces District of Kane County's Executive Director to approve a contract with Vanguard Energy Service, LLC, for electric services for the period of up to 36 months. So, Mr. Dahl moves it. Mr. Pollak seconds. Is there discussion on this? Right, all right, vote, roll call.
Allen. Aye. Carter.
Yes.
Ferrero. Yes. Castro.
Yes.
Dahl.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Gillen.
Yes.
Kane. Oshak.
Yes.
Kazari.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Pollak.
Yes.
Sheffler.
Yes.
Silva. Yes. Smith.
Yes.
Sterrett.
Yes.
Wodecki.
Yes.
It's approved. Resolution 2501, resolution accepting the 2017-18 estimated budget for the proposed establishment of the 2016 property tax levy. Would somebody move this?
Move it.
Mr. Heyman moves it. Would somebody second? Mr. Lewis seconds it. Would you speak to it, Chairman of the Finance Committee?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke on this a little bit on Friday at Executive, and there were some kind words. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, it was unscripted, unrehearsed, and as you're about to find out, not committed to memory. But we'll give, we'll give it a try. We're part of an organization that we can all be very proud of. I enjoy this work very much. We have a story to tell to the people of Kane County, and they've embraced it. They've given us their approval time and again, and the leadership that we've had with Mr. Hochheit and with Mr. Kenyon has brought us to that point where by their vote, they've shown us that they approve of what we do with the money that they give us and trust us with. And just this morning, you'll see that as part of that success story, the growing pains that come with it are trucks and lifts and ponds and mowing, a lot of responsibility to keep a face on it that everybody enjoys. Those all have price tags, and we've got a big squeeze on the money that it takes to do all those things. We've done everything, I believe, everything that we can to run as efficiently as possible, to be as lean as possible. Gates that open and close themselves, smaller footprints for mowing, engines that burn less fuel. Everywhere we turn, we try to save money and keep doing the job. You go back many years, and we've even, in our approach to finance, not always taken what we could, because we're not greedy in this operation. But eventually it catches up with you. And we've now been operating under a freeze for a number of years. And unlike the county side, we don't have any other revenue sources to speak of in terms of taxes. We don't have sales tax to lean on. And some of our few revenue streams are actually shrinking. Whether it's farmland or golf courses, we have less coming in. Now that all sounds pretty dire, but there's a silver lining, which is that, through the management of our finances, the help of Mr. Standish in particular, we've retired debt, and we've shown a terrific savings to the people of Kane County. So as we discuss this levy, I think that it's really important to focus on the number at the far right of the sheet that you have. As we look at taking the new construction portion of the levy, which we're actually doing on the county side, not a tremendous amount of fanfare about it so far, but we've recognized the same thing there. And then a very modest increase that's attributed to the CPI, all of which adds up to a grand total of about $99,000. And again, on the county side, that's, dare I say, a drop in the bucket. Not that I would walk past $99,000, but to us, it's very significant. At some point, if you continue to have this kind of squeeze, you have to either provide fewer services or have fewer people working for you. So it is my recommendation that we accept the additional 63 cents a year. But focus on that far right column where there's $41 and change. That's how much the bill's going down. You've retired debt, you've saved 1.2 million, Ken? And we're asking to just shrink that back a little bit and still save over $1 million. Still save over $41 on everybody's bill. I think that's most of what I covered last Friday.
That's pretty good. The guy with a bad memory. You must really believe in what you're talking about.
I do.
Mr. Hochschild, would you like to say something?
Just briefly, I'm going to vote in favor of this. I mean, this results in about almost a 20% reduction in what the average homeowner will pay to the Forest Preserve District next year, and I think the public should be thrilled about that.
Oh, Becky?
You know, I am going to be supporting this as well. I really would like to see the Forest Preserve move back to the restoration of some of the lands that we have. We have stepped away from that in the last couple of years, and I think that's vitally important to this organization. So I hope that this is a move in that direction.
Thank you. I couldn't help but thinking, we don't want to pick a TR.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Davis, can you explain to me how a tax increase can be considered a reduction?
It's in the numbers, TR. The little bit that we're asking for is more than offset by the savings that we've produced for the folks who get that bill.
The bond interest money.
By the reduction. The reduction comes from the retirement of debt and refinancing of bonds.
And capturing the new construction also?
Yes.
Yes, new construction is part of what we're looking at here.
So we have a package with contains everything. In other words, we're not voting on each issue individually.
That's correct.
Okay.
I was thinking we have a championship team here, just like our teams in Chicago. And it takes money to run these championship teams, and you have to bring people up through the ranks, which means you have to keep employing them. Not everybody works forever, and they go where the money is. We have to take care of our people. I will tell you, I would bet money, sizable money, that if you vote in favor of this, it'll be a morale booster for the whole Forest Preserve team.
Hello.
You didn't think anybody could be so blunt, did you? You probably surprised me. Oh, hello. How are you?
Well, of course it would. I had to say that. Okay.
Ms. Ferrero?
Thank you. I just have a question, okay? If we capture the CPI and new construction, does it affect the average homeowner, or does it just, the CPI just affect new construction? What is CPI?
Ken, can you give a number?
Well, CPI, what it basically is we're determining the dollar amount that we're going to submit to the county for levy purposes. So then they'll calculate what the tax rate is. That then tax rate is applied to all properties within the county. So it would be both new homes as well as existing homes within the county.
Can you give her a dollar and cents thing? Is it going to be 60?
That's good. Yeah, he wants you to give me the dollar and cents.
Well,
but I understand.
So we understand. We understand money. Mr. Hochschild wants to help.
Yeah, but here's the consequence, and this is what we need to understand. Right now, the average homeowner this year paid $262.96 to the.
It was revised. It was actually
$227.64.
Okay.
And they paid that now $185.
All right.
So it's about a $41 discount.
So they're going to pay a lesser amount. The difference between the component that you're asking about, the CPI, is 33 cents per household, roughly.
33 cents increase.
Wait a second.
It's going to go down.
It's going to go down, or it's going to go up?
The reduction will be 33 cents less.
Even to the average homeowner that's not reconstructed?
Correct.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
So the consumer price index, as I recall, was 0.7%. So that's your inflation factor. And I guess my question for Ken, if you know it, is what time period did they measure that? Was that calendar 15?
Yes, it's always done by the state, so it's calendar year 15, so usually they determine that by February or March, and then that's like constant through the levy cycle, so therefore all governmental entities know it, so it's always in arrears.
And it's going to, that'll be, if we accept that, that'll come out in the tax bills paid in 2017,
Correct.
I think.
The levy in 16
Right.
payable in 17.
Yeah, so I'm going to support this. It's a very small increase. It's coming at the same time that we're dropping the levy for the bond issue. So my personal feeling on it is I'm not going to advocate for a large increase or a future bond referendum for buying more land. I think we have enough land for the time being that we need to manage. And I wouldn't be in favor of constantly grabbing that consumer price index, but we're talking about a very small increase from a year ago. You know, so I guess that's my 2 cents.
Any more comments? Teresa?
I agree with Doug. That the Forest Preserve does not need to buy any more land, so we're set. So I am agreeing to this, but just want the average homeowner to know that they will not be affected by this, that it's only new construction.
Our crack reporters are getting all this information, and we're going to get it all out the right way, aren't we? Mr. Lewis would like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of issues happened to us this year. We had to reduce, or we accepted a reduction in our golf revenues. I think that's, you know, good reasoning behind that. We also have an issue with rental of the agricultural land that we make available. Both of those resulted in about 160,000 or some kind of number like that of reduced revenues. So from a practical standpoint, we need to find a way to make that up, or at least make a piece of that up. I've always been in favor of including new construction. I think we miss the boat if we don't do that. There's no reason why we should not do that. So the issue to me is, this year, do we have enough basis to apply the CPI? And I believe because of the reduction in the ag revenues and our decision in regards to golf courses, that we can't put our Forest Preserve organization in a position where they have to absorb all of that revenue. So for this year, I think I'm fine with it. It's basically a flat tax levy. I mean, I don't think our taxpayers are going to worry too much about a 63-cent increase in their taxes, particularly when we're saving $40 in our levy in regards to the bond issues. So this is like something we need to do, and let's just do it.
Let's vote.
Anybody else?
Let's vote.
One more thing, just to be clear, and Teresa, maybe this, for you as well. It goes to everybody, and the effect is a reduction. The average bill from $227.64 down to $186.47, over $41 less is what everybody's going to get. That's in the blended total. But at the end of the day, everybody's getting a break. The number's going down by a significant amount.
Ready to vote? Matt?
Allen. Aye. Walker.
Yes.
Ferrero. Yes. Castro. No. Dahl.
Yes.
Nevis.
Yes?
Braz.
Yes.
Gillum. Yes. Kane.
Yes.
Hoshine.
Yes.
Ismail.
No.
Bizarre.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Molina. Yes. Pollock.
No.
Sheffield,
Yes.
Silva,
No.
Smith,
No.
Sterrett,
No.
Warnecki,
Yes.
Motion passes. Had I been called, I would have been a yes. I asked her why she never calls me. We have no need for executive session. And President's comments, I think I made a few comments today about our excellent employees and the training. As I've seen the Forest Reserve, every year they get better. They get more sophisticated. They take care of everything better. Everybody's more well-trained. You can be proud to be a commissioner here. We'd like to, Mr. Heyman wants to put the reports on file.
Put the reports on file, and then I want to make a motion to adjourn.
We're not
What?
there yet.
Oh, wait a second. You want to move to put all the reports on file? Who would second that? Barbara Winecki would second. All in favor of putting all the reports on file, say aye. Now, wait a second. The boss of the bosses wants to talk.
Just real quick, you'll notice a printout in front of you of the National Recreation and Parks Association latest national survey. It's got some very interesting information. I sent it out to everybody yesterday, but realizing it was short notice, I went ahead and included it in for you today. So I hope you find the information that's in here interesting, and it is definitely applicable to the Forest Preserve District.
Seeing no other business, what? Do you have business?
Yes.
Okay, because you can't steal the motion.
No, I'm not trying to.
Some things are sacred.
I'll be brief.
Some things are sacred here.
I just want to point out that about a week ago in one of our local papers, they did an insert, suburban landmarks, icons that enrich our communities throughout the whole Chicagoland area, and our Fabian Villa Museum made it in there, so they do a nice little piece on that, so it's good to see.
Thank you very much.
Motion adjourned.
Mr. Heyman moves to adjourn. What?
vote on the report.
We did vote on that. You went by you.
You're still fishing.
Yeah. And Mr. Smith seconds the motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, what would happen if we voted no?
We're having so much fun, we
I
just
just
saved
want
it.
to have.
Busy robot, he's trying to cram something through it.